Good evening, everyone. If you are still using this kind of inverter in front of me, in this video, I'll show you how to set up a simple communication with this inverter. In this case, I will use Blynk application for the IoT because it's very simple. But for sure, you can use other options as well, such as MQTT or even something else. So in general, I would say this inverter is a quite decent product. I've been using this for a year or two, I believe, but then I substitute to the ordinary off-grid inverter. If you take a quick look here, this is Sun 1000. There is also 2000 version as well. So here I put two extra fan outside here because before I placed this inverter inside a panel box, so I just want to make sure that I can improve the airflow so I have no issue with the components cooling inside. So one thing I would like to address here is basically this one, because we're going to play around with this. Honestly, I still cannot see the reason why they're still using this kind of RS232 ports. Well, there's nothing wrong with this. This is just the ordinary serial ports, but I would say that it's probably slightly better if they just put an RS485 instead of this one. But anyway, it is what it is. So to set up a wireless IoT communication, you will need some modules to be prepared. The first one is this one. This is a ESP32 development module. This is the first. And the second one, you will need this kind of tiny module. I choose this tiny module because this is very small. I can put it easily inside a box. This is a Max 3232 RS232 to TTL converter. This tiny module are also very cheap, you know. This is only cost about 40 cents, I believe. Okay, that's the second. And the last one is basically you need something like this. This is a buck converter. This is a LM2596 buck converter module. Because this time we will use the power supply directly from the RS232 ports on the inverter, so we don't need any other external power supply for this one. So that's all, you know. In terms of cost, I mean, this all, I mean, we're talking about $6 project here. So this one is probably about five bucks, and this one is 40 cents, and this one is 60 cents. So both of this $1 and this one $5. So we're talking something $6 here. So let's go to the setup. I have made a small setup here. I'm using my 48-volt battery here because my Sun 1000 is rated for 45 to 90 volts as well. So from battery terminal, I just put cable here, goes to the breaker for safety. And then from the breaker, I just put 2-wire cable, goes directly to the DC terminal of this inverter. In this case, I'm using 1.5 square millimeters cable, so I think that's fine because we are going to play around with the small wattage here. And also on the AC side, I have plugged the AC cable here to the inverter, and I also ready with my mains plug here. But before we go, let's have a quick look on the sketch, the code. And I'm very keen to use my old school laptops here, which is 10 years old laptop. So let's have a quick look on the sketch here. I make it a bit closer probably. Sorry for that. I hope you still can see this. I'm sorry for the poor quality of this laptop display here. First thing first, I would like to say thank you to Blacksmith, in this case Martin Corbel. I don't know whether I spell it correctly or not. I'm sorry for that. Well, he did a great job for sharing the basic library for this Sun inverter. So thanks to him. So just a quick look on the sketch. So all you have to do here is basically just to fill in your Blynk token and then fill your Wi-Fi SSID, which is your Wi-Fi name, and then your Wi-Fi password. That's all. The sketch, the rest of it is ready to use basically. So in terms of what we're going to read from the inverter, so here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 parameters that we're going to read from the inverter, and we're going to send it straightforward to Blynk. So we are using virtual pin number 0 up to number 6. So it is basically telling us the ID of the inverter itself, because every single Sun 1000 or 2000 each have a unique ID. And then the second one, we're going to read the DC input voltage from the battery or from your PV. The next one is the AC output voltage, and also the inverter power output. Of course, this is the main parameters basically. But here we are not reading something that is changing every second. So this is basically average value of the power, 3 minutes to 5 or even more than that sometimes. So it's just the average power. And then we're going to read the energy generated for today. The next one is the total energy generated from the beginning of the inverter operations. So the next one, I also add the additional parameters here to get the AC output average current, just simply by dividing the power output by the AC voltage. So this is the parameters that we can sure. But as you know, this Sun inverter is basically, they have a full Chinese Modbus protocol. I'm personally having an issue with that because I just cannot understand that. It's very hard to understand. So one tricky way to try to understand that is just by looking at the units. That's all, because I personally I cannot understand every other single words there, because all in Chinese. So there are some other registries that we can read, but to be honest to you, I'm not sure what it's all about, because I don't know what's the value telling us for. I think that's the brief of this sketch. So I will share this code to you. You can download this from the link on the description below. And I also will share the complete schematic for this inverter IoT monitoring. That's all for the quick look on the sketch. Now we're going to the setup directly here. So we're going back to my small setup here. Okay, in terms of this buck converter and also this RS232 to TTL module, I have made this black magic box. This is basically a cheap and nasty box, you know. So this is the box that I have made. This is only a simple circuit here. As I telling you before, I've made a simple circuit here using this RS232 to TTL converter, as well as I put this buck converter as well, same as this one. This is my spare basically. So I made this circuit. So there are 4 terminals here. The red one, there are 2 terminals here. The one is the input voltage. This is the input DC voltage of power supply. We're going to have it directly from the RS232 from the inverter, positive and ground. And the green one, so of this one is the TX, and another one is the RX1 for the serial communication with the RS232. So that's it. And I also put a few jumpers on my ESP32. I also leave a number of them unsoldered because I just soldered some of the pins that is required for this. So for this one also, you will need a cable. This is basically a 4-wire cables or 4-core cable. And also you will need, this is a dodgy DB9 connector. This is the male connector, DB9 male. This is very cheap anyway. So in this one, I'll show you in the schematic as well, but I also will open this for you. In this DB9 male, so if we look at like this, on the from the left side, this is from the top left, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this one 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to connect to pin number 2. This is basically for the RX, if I'm not mistaken. And then the pin number 3 is the TX, and number 5 is the ground. And the last one, we're going to get the power supply from the inverter, because on the pin number 9 of this DB9, we can get a supply of DC 12 volts. So we can power up our module and our ESP directly from the inverter. Okay, I will close the cover again. Okay, so now I will put my ESP32 to my prototype circuit here. Okay, I'll show you. I'm going to put it. So we basically only need a 4-wire connection here. So I have put my ESP now. So let it be like that. So now I will have my inverter turned on. I decided to change the mains with the multiple plugs like this, in case we need to plug something else later on. So now I'm going to plug the AC cable of the inverter to the mains. So let's go. Okay, I plug it. So in here we can see that. Okay, I hope you can see the figure there. So if we look at it, I just want to make sure on the setting a bit. So we go to the setting. Okay. Now I'm setting for 250 watts. Okay, no limiter. And then the cutoff voltage 45 volts, and the reboot one is 46 volt. Okay, I think that's okay for the setting. I'll save it. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on DC inputs from the battery. So let's do it. Okay. If we have a look on this, we are now producing, yeah, that's about that, 250 something watts. Okay, that's fine. Seems like it is stable there, and the voltage is 215 AC. Okay, so I will now plug my monitoring device, my ESP32 monitoring device. So I'm going to put it there. I need to screw this, I think, just to make sure it's not loosened. Okay, so I have connected my ESP monitoring device now. Let me put that. So now we are producing 250 something watt here. I'll open my Android phone here. This is my Android phone. I have placed some widgets there. So I think this is already connected to this one. So we are producing 255 watts. So let's play it. Go. Okay. As you can see here, we are reading some parameters here. For example, the inverter device ID, which should be the same number with the device ID on this display. And also we are reading the DC input voltage, which is also read over here on the left normally. And we're also reading the power output of the inverter, which is the average. This is slightly a bit different with the numbers on the display. The other thing is also we are reading the AC output voltage, which is 215 something. It's just about the same. And we are reading the generated energy today, which is still 0 because I just turned it on. And this is the total generated energy so far. I have 765 kilowatt hours. So this is also the average AC current. And the last one, this is the one that I have shown you previously. This is basically the output of the register reading on the rest of the register numbers. So according to the Modbus protocols, we can see that there are registries here that has a value. So some of the register here is already used in these widgets. I mean, for example, if you do the, configuring the setting with this kind of button on the LCD, I'm sure that you're aware of the factor of 0.1 that you always see when you're setting the volt. For example, it always set on the LCD with the times 0.1, something like that. So in this one, on this one, when you read the registry, for example, registry number 86, this is basically telling us the power output in wattage, but you have to multiply it by 0.1 or just simply divide it by 10. For example, this is 250.2. This is the same with the output, but you have to multiply it by 0.1. And also the registry number 109, this is basically the DC input voltage. So when you read this one 455, this is basically 45.5 volt as the DC input voltage. But also there are some other register, for example, because this is moving so fast, for example, register number 3, number 4, number 5, and then number 43, number 7. To be honest to you, I still not sure what these all about, registry number 7, number 6, 5, and then also registry number 43. I'm not sure what is that, because I cannot understand the Chinese Modbus protocol. Okay, so we can have this wireless monitoring using the Blynk. Very easy, very simple, and well, it's quite useful, although there are only a few of parameters that we can show here. But anyway, the curve is also updating now. For example, I just showed the inverter power output in watts unit, as well as the input voltage. Here on the right side is the scale for the input voltage DC, and the left side is the scale for the inverter power. So I think this is all I can say. You can make your own IoT monitoring for this inverter. Very easy. This is, as I said before, this is a $6 or $7 project. So I will share all the sketch coding for this. I will share also the complete schematic for making this circuit, as well as I will share this Blynk project template. So all you have to do is just to scan the QR code. Okay, I think that's all for now. Thank you. See you next time.